Mr. Speaker, sir, Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Leader of Opposition, Honourable Members of Parliament, greetings to you all. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise today to commend the Honourable Minister for Economy, Attorney General and Minister responsible for climate change for delivering a very comprehensive, responsible, prudent and well thought out national budget for financial year 2022-2023. The Honourable Minister for Economy and his team has provided us with a far-sighted and transformative recovery, growth and development budget that will not only protect our households, the youth and students, the vulnerable, but will also stimulate private sector activity, empower women and youth, and create green jobs that will maintain Fiji's macroeconomic physical sustainability. The budget was developed with extensive consultation with different cross-sections of the community. Unfortunately, some on the other side can't see that the budget process should be inclusive, should evolve out of the people. Instead, they labeled it as an electioneering process. It reflects the visionary leadership of our Honourable Prime Minister and his commitment to ensure that we all grow together, and therefore any budget must reflect the concerns and aspirations of all the people, be it in the urban area, peri-urban, deep rural maritime areas, that they are not forgotten. The young students, their dreams are not affected, and elderly welfares are not affected by adverse economic situation. Mr. Speaker, we can indeed say that this budget has not left anyone behind during one of the most difficult times in the history of this country. Unfortunately, those on the opposition bench who spoke yesterday continue to name-call this budget without any merit. They are hell-bent in misleading the public that this budget is not the best, and therefore they must not vote for this government. They have failed miserably to inform the people what's their alternative plan, alternative budget. Mr. Speaker, the only correct thing they said yesterday was that our people are indeed smart. They know the truth, and they fully understand how our government protected their welfare during the COVID-19 crisis against their calls for complete shutdown of the country. Instead of supporting our calls for vaccination, some, the likes of Honourable Bulana Uda, campaigned against it. Instead of protecting our national carrier, which was the only airline to carry our agriculture produce out of the country, they wanted to throw it under the bus. God knows what the situation and state of affairs we would have been had they been leading the government. Mr. Speaker, it was the decisive leadership by our Honourable Prime Minister that we are now operating in a near normal state. This visionary leadership of this government will go down the history books. Our grandchildren will read about this pandemic and realize how our government used all its resources to minimize fatalities and protect people's welfare throughout Fiji. To make matters worse, Mr. Speaker, Honourable Gerengere Tambua has still not made an apology to our Honourable Prime Minister for making uncalled comment on his father. Honourable Biman, is she guilty or not? Is she guilty or not, Honourable Biman? Just say it. Just say it. Just say it. Just admit it. Just admit it. Mr. Speaker,
Don't carry
order. I expect Honourable Reddy.
Honourable members, don't carry out a conversation between you two. Right? We have too much of this. You're going to make a comment, make the thing more said, but don't carry out a conversation. Include me all the time. I'll come and converse with you two. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. They don't understand the basics of... point of order is this, Mr. Speaker. We had yesterday and today Honourable Reddy, who should understand English language better. I don't think Honourable Lenora Gerengere Tambua at any point in time meant the Prime Minister's family. She didn't. Because what she said was not referring to the Prime Minister.
He said father's money.
It's like, you make a statement, it doesn't mean that she was referring to the Prime Minister. mean, it is quite unethical and stupid, Mr. Speaker, for these members to lie, misleading Parliament, and it's irrelevant to the discussion. The point of order is irrelevance. And it's a lie that she said anything about the Prime Minister's family. She didn't. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, say, I stand by my comment. Mr. Speaker, say, there's a lot of hollow logs on the other side making a lot of noise. It's loud, but nothing inside, Mr. Speaker, say. Mr. Speaker, say, Mr. Speaker, say, Honourable Honourable Peer.
Mr. Speaker, I think we need a ruling on this. Because as I said,
Order.
that Honourable Reddy is lying. He's misleading Parliament, misleading the people of this country, and what he's saying is irrelevant to the debate that we are having right now.
Order. Order. Don't carry out a conversation. Honourable members, everybody's referring to this statement. I haven't heard the statement. But if you want me to make a ruling, I've got to see the statement. I haven't seen any statement. I haven't heard any statement. Right. So, you have the floor, Honourable.
Mr. Speaker said they're talking about not relevant. Mr. Speaker said they've been reading the Bible in the Parliament during their budgetary speech. And he never stood up and said it's not relevant. Mr. Speaker said, Honourable Pierre Tukundundua was talking about corruption. Mr. Speaker said he should be the last person to talk about corruption. He forced the military and PWD to repair his house, Mr. Speaker said, when he was on this side. Mr. Speaker said. He should not talk about corruption, Mr. Speaker said.
Order.
Mr. Speaker said, the impact of the pandemic and the war on production and supply chains. They are very quiet now, Mr. Speaker said. They've gone quiet, Mr. Speaker said. Mr. Speaker, the impact of the pandemic and the war on production and supply chains have sparked inflation worldwide, and we cannot be complacent. We need to be proactive to ensure that our households are insulated against any food insecurity. Mr. Speaker said, therefore, Mr. Speaker said, it is then imperative on us to brace up, do what needs to be done to ensure our food security is not compromised at any cost. At the same time, we need to grab this opportunity to expand primary production, reduce our imports and increase exports to premium markets to bring in the much needed foreign currency. In this regard, the Ministry of Agriculture acknowledges with gratitude the appropriation of $64.1 million for the upcoming financial year, Mr. Speaker said. This is an increase of $3.1 million from the revised 2021-22 budget, which we used to assist in the achievement of sustainable development goals through a competitive, resilient agriculture sector for the growth and development of Fiji. Mr. Speaker said, as alluded to in detail by Honourable Pillay, the performance of our agriculture sector over the last 3 years has been exemplary. Production has increased in real terms, and so has our exports. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to announce today in Parliament that for the upcoming financial year, from this budget of $64 million, we will be making a direct assistance package to the farmers worth $29.2 million. Now, Mr. Speaker, I want to see what the members from the other side have to say this. We need to continue this momentum, albeit smartly, based on a sustainable agriculture model. Mr. Speaker, this $29.2 million package will ensure more idle resources will be utilized, more people will participate, and therefore they will all be rewarded with the surplus generated, imports will be reduced, exports will be increased to bring in more foreign currency into the country, more jobs will be created directly and indirectly, and our economy will grow. Mr. Speaker said the assistance are divided in two groups. One, about 14 of these packages for farmers who have never received any assistance, and the rest will be given to all the farmers, particularly the successful farmers, to give them leverage for another level. Mr. Speaker said this $29.2 million package includes the following packages. Small farming and agro-processing equipment, $592,000 have been allocated, where 200 farmers will benefit to buy small equipments with one-third contribution from them and two-thirds by government. Irrigation kit support with the allocation of $72,000 from Ministry of Waterways budget, 30 farmers will be assisted with the full irrigation package. Fencing kit to support beef cattle farmers, $68,000 have been allocated to assist 27 farmers. Fencing kit for sheep farmers, $255,000 have been allocated to assist 102 farmers. Fencing kit for goat farmers, $226,000 have been allocated to assist 90 farmers with fencing material. Hydroponic system, $72,000 has been allocated to assist 9 farmers with $8,000 package of hydroponics complete set. Fruit tree orchards, $150,000 have been allocated to assist to establish 50 orchards, which includes breadfruit, banana, avocado, mango, dragon fruit, guava, coconut, citrus. Equity support to agro-exporters and processors. Mr. Speaker, say $150,000 have been allocated to assist 15 existing agro-processors and exporters with a $10,000 grant to assist them to leverage them to another level so that we can expedite export from the country. Gender and Agriculture Program, Mr. Speaker, say $300,000 have been allocated to assist 60 clusters, groups, and 300 individuals. The cluster groups will get $2,500 each, and the individuals will be getting $500 each to assist them in their business, whether it's floriculture or weaving, etc. Mr. Speaker said. So, Mr. Speaker said this allocation has been basically targeting women in agriculture, or women youths in agriculture. Smallholder dairy support, Mr. Speaker said $266,000 have been allocated to assist 22 farmers with dairy shed upgrading, Mr. Speaker said, worth a package of $12,000 each. Piggery pen package support, Mr. Speaker said, $211,000 have been allocated to support 21 farms to establish a piggery pen. Poultry shed package support, Mr. Speaker said, $206,000 been allocated to assist 82 farmers with a $2,500 package to establish small poultry sheds. Land preparation facility for young commercial farmers, Mr. Speaker said, $400,000 been assisted for young graduates out of NATI and young farmers, young youths who are getting into commercial farming, Mr. Speaker said, to clear and prepare 5 acres of the land at 9/10 of the cost being contributed by government, Mr. Speaker said. Mr. Speaker said, we then have for all the farmers who were eligible to apply for these other packages, provision of farm machinery for any work that they want to undertake on their farm, whether it's land clearing, land preparation, farm road, infield drainage, Mr. Speaker said, $7 million have been allocated, whether 50% of the entire cost will be picked up by government, Mr. Speaker said. Any machinery they want to use, Mr. Speaker said, excavator, digger, bulldozer, tractor, Mr. Speaker said, they can use that machinery, Mr. Speaker said, and ministry will pay 50% or pick up 50% of the cost. Mr. Speaker said, farm shed establishment package, Mr. Speaker, there are farmers whose farm is way away from the house, Mr. Speaker said. They spend 1 week, 2 weeks on the farm, then they return. For them, we have got $211,000 to construct a small farm shed on the farm with a $5,000 package. 42 such farm sheds will be constructed. Commercial Yangona farming equipment package, Mr. Speaker said, $170,000 have been allocated to assist 34 Yangona commercial farmers to purchase small equipments. Borehole support, Mr. Speaker, say $109,000 have been allocated to assist 21 farmers with one-third contribution of $5,000 to establish a borehole on their farm. Beef stockyard support, Mr. Speaker, say $70,000 have been to assist 10 farmers to establish stockyard on their farm, Mr. Speaker, say. Goat rearing package, Mr. Speaker, say $375,000 have been allocated to assist 25 farmers to construct goat rearing package worth $15,000 in each of those farms. Draft animal power initiative, Mr. Speaker, say $60,000 has been assisted to assist those farmers in the remote areas who are using a draft horse or draft to buy basic equipment such as Hasley and chain, etc. Mr. Speaker, say we're looking at assisting 30 such farmers who are using horsepower. The Speaker says sheep shed package, $175,000 have been allocated to assist 29 farmers that will be provided with sheep sheds material worth $6,000. Goat shed package, Mr. Speaker, says $160,000 have been allocated to assist 26 farmers to construct goat sheds with the material worth $6,000 from ministry. Commercial farmers equity package, Mr. Speaker, say $500,000 have been allocated to support farmers who would want to establish a processing shed, want to purchase a large equipment, let's say excavator or bulldozer or tractor, Mr. Speaker, say. They will be taken to get a loan, acquire a loan from FDB, and ministry will pay as a grant the 20% equity contribution, Mr. Speaker, said, for these farmers to the development bank so that they can acquire the loan. Home biogas digester equipment, Mr. Speaker, say $88,000 have been allocated so that we can assist 22 piggery farmers with the utilization of the waste material that they have to generate biogas, Mr. Speaker, say. Pig furrowing crate support, Mr. Speaker, say we have got an allocation of $32,000 to assist 6 farmers for establishment of pig furrowing crates for their farm. Farm mechanization, Mr. Speaker, say we have got $1.16 million, Mr. Speaker, say to assist farmers by machinery. 25 tractors and 5 diggers will be purchased for cooperatives, Mr. Speaker, say with 1/3 contribution by these groups and 2/3 by government out of this $1.16 million under this farm mechanization. Mr. Speaker, said $340,000 have been allocated to assist 10 cooperatives to acquire, procure rice harvester, Mr. Speaker, said. Rice is becoming a big industry now, Mr. Speaker, said. Massive growth in rice production we have witnessed this year, and we want to ensure that harvesting is not a problem and not a binding constraint, Mr. Speaker, said. Organic manure development, Mr. Speaker, said $40,000 have been allocated to establish organic manure at 10 locations from which the nearby farmers will obtain the organic manure for the use on their farm. Mr. Speaker, say, in addition to this, Mr. Speaker, say, we have got several other programs running concurrently, such as provision of planting material, stray animal campaign, mushroom industry support, Mr. Speaker, say, Ratuma Island Development Program, Mr. Speaker, say. Mr. Speaker, say, these, with the other 28 initiatives, which will provide direct assistance to the farmers, worth $29 million is now unveiled, Mr. Speaker, say, and be advertised, and we are looking forward to farmers and cooperatives and agro-processors and exporters to apply for assistance, Mr. Speaker, say. Mr. Speaker, say, the above demonstrates that those on the other side, Mr. Speaker, including Mr. Chaudhary, Mr. Speaker, say, who was saying that there's nothing much for agriculture sector, Mr. Speaker, say, either they don't know how to read the budget estimates, the budget document, or, Mr. Speaker, say, they are getting into the normal bandwagon of just opposing anything the government will say, Mr. Speaker, say. Mr. Speaker, say, as they rightly said that, the people are smart. They know what we have done, and they'll make the decision, Mr. Speaker, say, based on our track record, Mr. Speaker, say. Mr. Speaker, say, let's all mobilize our resources, use government support, and make our agriculture sector an example for all the other developing countries, Mr. Speaker, say. Mr. Speaker, say, other countries in our agriculture forums are writing to us, asking us, How have we done this? How have we mobilized the entire country into agriculture, Mr. Speaker say? They are copying us, Mr. Speaker say. And unfortunately, people here on the other side, they just don't know. They can't see what's happening, Mr. Speaker, on the ground. Mr. Speaker say, on the other portfolio of environment, Mr. Speaker say, Section 40 of the Constitution of the Republic of Fiji states that every person has the right to a clean and healthy environment. Mr. Speaker, that includes the right to have our natural world protected for the benefit of our present and future generation. While bearing this mandate is a huge honor, with it comes huge responsibility and many opportunities as well. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Environment in the next financial year will continue to ensure that Fiji's natural environment is protected, resources are sustainably utilized, all developments are sustainable, ozone layer protected, and waste is properly managed and pollution controlled. Mr. Speaker, in our pursuit for a cleaner environment, the Ministry of Environment will continue to enforce the Environmental Management Act 2005 and amendments thereof, the Ozone Depleting Substances Act 1998, the Endangered and Protected Species Act 2002, and the Litter Act 2008. Mr. Speaker said this budget is weighed against the government's commitment to safeguarding our natural environment through an integrated, expedient approach, ensuring that development does not come at the cost of our environment. Even during these trying times, Mr. Speaker said. Mr. Speaker said, environmental conservation initiatives keeps us on track to achieve our environmental commitments we have set out in the National Development Plan, strategies such as the National Biodiversity Strategy, Action Plan 2020-2025, and our global obligations under the various multilateral environmental treaties that we are party to. Mr. Speaker, the total budgetary allocation for the Ministry of Environment is 3.4 million for the fiscal year 2021-2022, 2023, of which 3 million is for operating expenditure. Mr. Speaker, 297,000 has been rolled over for the payment of the Namboro landfill stage 2, cell 3 construction to cater for the waste generated in the Lami-Suva-Nasuri corridor. The completion of construction of stage 2, cell 3 of the Namboro landfill will provide an additional space of 200,000 cubic meters and expected to last for approximately 3 years. Speaker say, this will also depend on the amount of waste generated and received in the landfill. The Ministry is working with private sector and the communities across Fiji on a number of recycling initiatives to reduce the amount of waste ending up in the landfill and the environment. The Ministry is cognizant of the fact that preventing pollution reduces our financial and environmental cost overlays. Hence, curbing pollution, conserving and protecting Fiji's natural resources, including the ocean and coastal ecosystems such as coral reef, our forests, rivers and lakes and wildlife, as always will be our top priority. Ministry will continue its enforcement work in these areas. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Environment has implemented several environmental initiatives in the 2021-22 financial year, and this will continue, Mr. Speaker, in the 2022-23 financial year. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Environment merits and appreciates all its partnerships and will continue to collaborate with all like-minded agencies in meeting our environmental protection, conservation, and biodiversity goals. To conclude, Mr. Speaker, there can't be any better time than this to get into commercial agriculture, but production and supply should be in response to market signals rather than grants and subsidies. The support that we have announced are to provide the initial leverage to wean the new entrepreneurs to start walking and running. Only then will our agriculture sector will be sustainable. Agriculture sector is an economic sector, not a welfare sector. So its growth and surplus creation process will look after all those who will participate in this process. On this note, Mr. Speaker, I urge all honourable members in Parliament to join me in endorsing and supporting this budget. It's a budget with a vision for all Fijians, led by our exemplary and decisive leadership of our Honourable Prime Minister. Thank you. Naka.